Not too much has happened since my last update, with the exception of today. Today itself is worth an update, so here we go. Before we start, I wanted to address some of the comments from the last update. A quick note on the number that Beth has been texting me from. On a hunch, I tried calling it. At the expense of seeming cliche, the number was disconnected. I'm not sure what looking the number up would find, but I get the feeling it wouldn't turn up anything useful. A few of you have pointed out that I may have jumped to conclusions about Sarah and her friend, speculating that he could be a brother, gay best friend, or some person that would make this situation completely innocent. She does have one younger brother who I've met, and it wasn't him. I can't honestly say that I met all her friends. You're all right though. It could have been a friend or a cousin, or someone consoling her. But as I said before, it frankly isn't any of my business. Regardless of my reasons, I dumped her. She's free to do what she wants or see who she wants, as she pleases. In the past few days, I've let it go. I need to focus on my situation with Beth. Which brings us to the start of this update. For the most part, you all have all been encouraging me, although with caution, to help Beth. I don't know yet if the end goal is her crossing over, or just being at peace with herself. Either way, I've decided to do what I can. It's the least I can do for the pain that I've caused her. I decided to go to Mass again on Sunday. I confess I didn't go for the service itself, although I was raised Catholic. I've never been a good Catholic. I used to go all the time, but never was able to get into it. In fact, outside of church, I've never been comfortable around religion. Despite my situation, I'm still not sure about God, Jesus, and all that other stuff. Consider me open-minded, but highly skeptical. Regardless of all of that, my main reason was going to talk to Father Frank again, to get his advice. You know, Eric, he said it from across his desk, when people ask me for advice, they want advice on how to be a better Catholic. I'm not an expert on this paranormal stuff. I had told him for the most part of the updates of the blessing. So now not only does the presence not feel threatening, but I think it needs my help. And how do you know this? He asked with his hands clasped in front of him. Here it was. I'd intentionally vague in what I had told him before. I'd never told him that I knew who it was and I was talking to. I never told him about the text. On an impulse, I told him about everything. Even showed him the text. I really wish I had thought about it beforehand. He sighed and leaned back in his chair. I'm not sure if he was still taking me seriously after that. Eric, everyone you ask will seem to have a different answer on what happens after death. Even priests will have some variation. He stood and walked over to the stained glass to peer at it. The church teaches that there are several different places your soul goes to. Heaven, for those who lived and died in sanctifying grace. Hell, for those who led wicked lives outside of grace of God. And purgatory, I finished for him. A purification process for those in between. My dad's gone over this with me more times than I can count. He nodded, turning back to the desk. But the faith is rather vague as to the nature of purgatory. You think that's what's going on? Beth is talking to me from purgatory? I don't know what's going on with your friend. She could be. Or she could be somewhere else entirely. But she committed suicide, I reminded. Isn't that a one-way ticket to hell? Well, he started as he paced, his hands now clasped behind his back. He looked like he was going into teaching mode. That can be a common misconception. Many people, and priests even, teach that killing yourself is breaking the fifth commandment. thou shalt not kill. However, as I believe and teach, you need to consciously be making a decision not to commit that sin that severe. Killing someone in a car accident doesn't condemn you to hell. Suicide is a bit tricky. There are so many factors that go into someone's state of mind when they decide to take their own life. I'd say that, although it's likely, it's not always guaranteed. I never refuse to do a service for someone who has taken their life, and I always tell the attendees that they may not make the judgment, that they shall trust in the mercy of the Lord. He cleared his throat after the lecture was finished. Despite my feeling on the faith, I actually found it an interesting listen. So, Beth could be in purgatory? If that's what you want to call it, then yes. The people in paranormal movies and books often speak of crossing over, going toward the light. One way of looking at that is helping someone cross out of purgatory into the grace of God. If that's really what she's asking, then I say, help her. I thought about his words, then I thanked him for his advice. Anytime, Eric, he said. I'll say some prayers for your friend, and I advise you to do the same. Always pray for the departed. They need as much help as the living. When I got home, I waited outside to tell Beth what I had found. I already told her that I wasn't going to let her back into my home. At least, not yet. She hasn't pushed it, which gives me hope that she was being sincere about changing. For now, we agreed my car was a nice place for us to chat. So, does any of that sound about right? I asked. Beth, I don't know. Have you seen anyone on the other side? Other dead people? God? Beth, Eric, please don't ask me about God. Just know. That's the second time she shot me down about asking about God. I'm not sure if it's a sore subject, or if it's something she can really talk about, like a taboo or something. Either way, I let it drop again. Do you want to cross over? A minute passed before she answered, like she was thinking. Beth, I don't know, Eric. I'm sorry, but I'm having a hard time with this. Alright, it's alright, I reassured. I told you I'm going to help you, regardless of if you cross over or not. Beth. Thank you, Eric. Not much happened over the past few days. Beth didn't bug me much at work, so we mainly talked in the car, aside from the occasional text back and forth when I was inside my apartment. I did, however, have the genius idea of downloading a text-to-speech app for my phone, one that reads SMS messages. Now when we're next to each other, we can have an actual conversation, or at least something like one. This is weird, the voice said on the phone. At least I was able to find one with a voice that sounded remotely like a normal person. Still, the voice brought on just a bit of an uncanny valley. We'll get used to it. At least now we can talk during my commute. True, she said. Thank you, Eric. This was sweet of you. Careful, I warned. I didn't do this to be sweet. You're right, she answered. Sorry, still getting used to this. Work was busy today, ongoing, not much chance for a break. The flip side was that the day went by rather quick, so I couldn't mind too much. I took my phone off silent when I got into the car. Beth didn't say much during the commute. I pulled into my complex before the phone spoke. I need your help, Beth said. With what? I asked. I need you to get something from my house. I checked the text. I heard her right, but part of me was reading it as terrible idea, terrible idea, terrible idea. You've got to be kidding me. Eric, please? You realize that your dad wants to kill me, right? If you go right now, he won't be there. Please, Eric, she begged. The synthetic voice did little to convey emotion, but I swear I could hear it. I sighed, tried to say everything, and sighed again, started my car back up, and then pulled out of the parking lot. What are we getting? Every step up to Beth's old door was a struggle. She used to live in an older Victorian-style home on the edge of the suburbs. Beth once told me her dad bought it as a fixer-upper. Wasn't a bad place, save for the memories it held. I rang the doorbell once. I waited for a moment, deciding between ringing again or just going back before the door opened. Hello? The voice asked. I looked through the door and saw a ghost. Caitlin McDonald was the striking image of her sister, Bethany. Same stark black hair, same silver eyes with a tinge of blue, same everything. She was several years younger than Beth, but always looked similar. I was speechless. Fear and sorrow flowed through me, along with a growing feeling I was somewhere I wasn't supposed to be. Still, I told Beth I would help. Eric, what are you doing here? She asked. She had a half smile. I knew that she didn't feel the same as her parents, but it was reassuring all the same. Well, I said, having rehearsed this. You know, the night I came over, I think I left something here. I was hoping to see if you still had it. What was it? She asked. A necklace. Must have slipped off in her room. She didn't say anything right away. Her mix of emotions about that time must have been similar to mine. I don't know, Eric. If my dad finds out... I'll be quick, I said. Please, Katie. It's very important to me. I could see the question form in her eyes. Why didn't I come sooner then? She probably assumed it was because of what happened, which is what I was going for. She sighed and then stepped to the side to let me in. Alright then, just don't tell anyone. I thanked her and followed her inside and up the stairs. I was confused, figuring that she would pull out an old box of jewelry and tell me to look through that. Instead, she opened Beth's old door. Inside was almost the way I remembered it. We use it as a guest room, but haven't touched it too much. Mom doesn't like us moving things around, she told me. I nodded and stepped aside, looking around. It wasn't too long before I stepped inside and spotted what I came there for. At least, what I thought it was. I pretended to look around a bit longer before my distraction came. A loud knock on the front door. Just a minute, Katie shouted downstairs. I'll be right back, she told me before leaving. I nodded and waited until she was at an eye shop before grabbing the trinket from Beth's nightstand. Katie looked perplexed as I stepped down the stairs. Must have been the neighbor's kids again. Did you find it? I shook my head. Must have lost it somewhere. Sorry about that, she said. I'll keep an eye out for it. What did it look like? I took a moment to describe a necklace I didn't have. Something about a cross and a lion's head. Sounds pretty, said Katie with a smile. I'll let you know if I can find it. Can you give me your number? Sure, I said. I had the feeling Beth wouldn't mind me keeping in touch with her sister. Maybe even appreciate it. If not, I could always delete the number later. I pulled my phone out to exchange contacts, then I saw a slough of missed text from Beth. I put the phone on silent instead of vibrate. The first was from 5 minutes ago. Beth, you need to go. Beth, you need to leave now. He's coming home. Get out of there. My chest went cold. With a white face, I quickly gave her my number and turned to the door. "Eric, wait," she said. I turned in time just for Katie to give me a kiss on the cheek. I froze. There's so much wrong with that. "Thanks for coming by," she said with a wide smile. I just nodded. "See you around." Then I went out the door, walking as fast as I could without running back to my car. I was about 5 feet away when the headlights shined on me. The car stopped in the middle of the street, just staring at me. I glanced back at the door. Katie looked like a deer caught in the headlights, just as I must have. A moment later, an old man got out of the driver's seat. Beth's father. Sean was everything you would expect of a middle-aged Irish man, minus the accent. "What are you doing here?" he said. The words wouldn't come out of my mouth, and I found myself at his mercy as he grabbed me by the collar. I was pushed down against the hood of my car. The wind would have been knocked out of me if it was meant to hurt me instead of just to intimidate me. "Huh? Why are you here?" "Dad," Caitlin shouted as she ran outside. "Stop! He just came to find something of his." "And what's that? My other daughter wasn't enough, so you had to take her too?" My shirt shrunk around my neck as he tightened his grip. "No!" I gasped. "Dad, stop!" Katie pleaded. "Go inside!" he barked at her. Actually thought he was about to punch the crap out of me. "Sean, let the man go," a woman said from the car. I turned my head. It had only been a year since I saw Beth's mother, but she had aged quite a bit. The moment dragged on with intensity before he let me go. I quickly scurried away from him to the door of my car. "You stay away from my daughter," he said with a stab feeling. "I find you around here again, and I'll kill you. You understand?" I didn't even give him a nod before getting in my car and starting it. My tires screeched in protest as I shoved the gas to pull away. I saw him in my rear-view mirror, staring at me as I drove off into the setting sun. "How much of that did you see?" I asked Beth. She took her time responding. I think we were both calming down from what had just happened. All of it. "I'm sorry for not seeing your text." "It's alright," she said to me. Her answers were short. There were several elephants in the room. Her sister's kiss, whatever that meant. Her father's near assault. I wasn't quite sure how to address any of them. "Can I see it?" It took me a moment to think of what she was talking about. I held up the heart-shaped locket for her. Either silver or sterling silver, or something that looked like it. "Open it," she requested. I complied, opening the locket. The cynical part of me expected to see a picture of myself. Instead, the frame held a handwritten inscription. "May your true hearts never part." I gazed at it for a moment. "Who gave this to you?" "My grandmother," she answered. I didn't say anything after that. I think she just needed some time. "I miss her," she said after a short while. "Your grandmother?" "Caitlin," she corrected. "How close were you?" "Very." After another moment of silence. "No matter what we went through, we always had each other." I couldn't say anything. I wanted to, but I couldn't. The thought of the nights I left Beth crying and her sister comforting her, somehow my mind made it all about me again. I tried to get past it. "I can't imagine what she went through," I said, trying terribly to console her. A close sister killing herself must have torn her apart. Then the curveball came. I didn't kill myself.